Hey everybody, it's Dave Duford here at buylifeinsuranceforburial.com, where I help people like you get information, quality information on your life insurance options available to you. So today's video is focused on how to get life insurance if you have prostate problems. So if you're looking for life insurance on yourself or for your spouse and they have prostate problems, hopefully this video will be very useful and give you some basic information as to what your life insurance options are and what your possibility would be in potentially qualifying for life insurance. Let's jump right in and get started. So on today's agenda, I'm going to first introduce myself to you formally as well as my company. We're going to talk about and better specify when we say prostate problems what I actually mean. We'll answer the question if you can qualify with prostate problems, and then also talk about the kind of plans that you'll qualify for, potentially qualify for, including term, permanent, and guaranteed issue. And then we'll conclude by talking about how to qualify and how to take the next steps to getting a policy in place. So my name is David Duford. I'm the owner and founder of buylifeinsuranceforburial.com. Again, I specialize in helping people across the country with their life insurance needs, no matter what their health issues are. I've been a life insurance agent since 2011. I've helped over 3,000 families with their life insurance needs. I also do a lot of other things too, related. I'm also a published author. You can see one of my books below. It's called The Official Guide to Buying Final Expense Life Insurance. Also, I am a life insurance agency owner. I've worked with over 400 agents from coast to coast and help them go into their own communities and help people out with life insurance needs. And last but not least, I'm married with children with my fourth one on the way, so wish us luck. So let's talk about what prostate problems specifically that we mean. So I want to better define this because there are different ones depending on the circumstances. And then we'll go into later, based on which of these problems, the eligibility you probably have to potentially qualify. So we're going to talk about things like abscessed prostates, prostatitis, benign prostatic hypertrophy, BPH, malignant prostate, BPH, prostate cancer. And again, we'll talk about all of this and its relation to potentially qualifying. So can you qualify for life insurance? The short answer is most likely yes, probably, maybe, depends, but that's really giving you the long answer there, is it just depends. So we're going to talk about age as a dependent factor. Mostly what we'll be speaking with today is between 25 and 85 years old. Also, your health issues play to a big part of this. One of the reasons why a lot of people ask, why don't you just give us prices on these videos right away? Well, it's really hard to, because many people have a multitude of problems. It could be something as simple as diabetes or blood pressure or weight issues in combination with the prostate issue. It's very unlikely you'll find one health issue alone. So I would much rather give you an idea of where we would potentially head towards given different circumstances. So it's why I can't say necessarily for sure if I can qualify you, but it just ultimately comes down to having a conversation with me and being able to give you a better idea of what that is. And we'll talk about that later. But hopefully the idea here is we're going to just look at some options, what your eligibility would be considering the severity of your prostate problem. So let's get started. So the big thing with buying life insurance is to match your goals up with the right type of life insurance. There's different life insurance options, but you should know what your goals are before you buy a policy. So the biggest question you should ask yourself is, why do I want a life insurance and what do you want to use that policy for? So there's typically three things, major issues, reasons why people buy life insurance. The first is final expenses. I would describe this as having coverage to pay for your funeral or cremation, any last final expenses associated with your passing. This would be a policy you would definitely need over the long term, that you wouldn't want to cancel, that you would want to be there no matter the circumstances. Second option, and this can be if you're young or you're old, is an income replacement plan. So when I say income replacement, what I'm referring to is if you pictured yourself dying suddenly, how would your family live without your income? Whether you're retired and receive Social Security, or whether you're a breadwinner, or you're a two-parent or a two-income family, how would that affect things? If it would affect it, then you need to consider life insurance as supplementing your income to some extent upon your passing. The last option is a debt repayment plan. So this is if you have some sort of business loan or a mortgage, as that's probably the most common reason in debt people have. If you died, what would happen to the mortgage? How would your family subsist? So you can buy a policy to effectively cover that obligation. Then you got to consider what your budget is. A lot of the people I deal with historically have been on a fixed income, so I'm very sensitive to budget. I am a salesperson, but there's no reason to sell a policy if you can't afford it. So I want something to be easily affordable, something that's not going to break the bank. So when we look at life insurance options, there's really just 3 types of life insurance options available to you. So we'll talk all about all of them. The first will be term life. The second will be permanent life or whole life or universal life insurance. And last will be guaranteed acceptance life insurance. So let's take a look, starting with term. So you may have heard of term before. If you're not quite sure what term means, really the best definition is it's temporary coverage. So term insurance does not last your whole life. However, there are some benefits to term insurance. Number one, the premiums tend to be level, so that they stay the same for the length of the term insurance plan. So if your term insurance is 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, then the premiums in most cases would remain the same amount for each of those time periods. Now, the thing too is you get more coverage with term insurance per dollar of premium than you would with whole life, universal life, or a permanent plan. Why is that? Well, it's because term insurance typically doesn't pay out, not because there's some kind of scheme going on, but because term insurance is just, it only pays out in rare circumstances because underwriters are trying to give you a policy that you will hopefully outlive. So they're trying to play the bet that you'll live longer than the length of the policy. So my point in mentioning this is that most term insurance, because most companies really understand that you'll probably outlive it, they can offer it at a lower price. And for those rare occasions where someone would die, the term insurance will definitely pay up. So this allows for pure insurance for much larger sums of money. Most common example would be something like an income replacement plan, or if you need to cover in case you have a mortgage or something like that. These large amounts typically are the most common debts and financial obligations covered by term plan. Biggest cons, as I say, you could outlive it, right? If you're depending on this to be here no matter what, term insurance might not be the best bet. You could outlive the coverage, and then you might be in a circumstance to where you needed the coverage but you don't have it. Now, term insurance, generally speaking, has tougher underwriting standards than what we would see from more simplified issue products like whole life insurance. Now, certain prostate issues are okay at lower levels of severity, and then others aren't. So as we review with underwriters and figuring out what prostate problems are acceptable, the main question or main comment that's made is what level of severity we look. So what'll happen is that bottom line, it just depends on the severity issue of the prostate problem that you're having. And that is something that really it's hard to identify until you have a conversation with me to figure out what your options would be. So that's why I recommend having us speaking with me, even 5 or 10 minutes. I can tell you if your prostate problem is severe or not severe and kind of where it would fall. We would look at different companies and kind of assess based on their standards what you may be able to qualify for. So this we're looking at now is whole life insurance. Now, whole life is what I would consider to be the opposite of term insurance. It offers permanent protection. Written into the life insurance contract, it's designed never to cancel due to age or health. Now, the benefits of the plan include, again, there's never rate increases. With the exception of non-guaranteed universal life plans, those can go up. So when I say rates never go up, I'm referring specifically to guaranteed universal life plans and whole life insurance plans, as long as you pay the premium stated in the policy. There's the first day full coverage potential, and you can't be canceled due to age or health. The biggest drawbacks really comes down to price. If you want guarantees, you're going to have to pay more in life. That's just the way everything is. And it's the same for whole life insurance or any kind of permanent protection. If we're going to, as an insurance company, say, you're going to get this money when you die, no matter what, well, you're going to have to pay more for that guarantee. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, with whole life or simplified issue, with permanent insurance, you've got the same underwriting standards as you would with term insurance, except with the exception of a simplified issue whole life. So simplified issue whole life exists to offer decent coverage when there are more severe underwriting issues. So this is why I go back to the referencing of the severity level of the prostate problems that you have, in addition to other health issues. If there are severity concerns that you may not qualify for a traditional policy, whether it's term or permanent, these simplified issue plans have much more flexibility. My experience has been the biggest roadblocks to getting coverage for people with prostate problems really deal with only cancer. So as long as your cancer is longer than 2 years since it's been diagnosed and removed, or since the last treatment has been done, you may qualify for simplified issue first day full coverage. So again, this is relegated to just cancer. Generally, the other issues mentioned earlier that are non-cancerous usually are okay with simplified issue whole life. Usually, not always. but there's a lot more flexibility there. So keep this in mind. If you decide to call me up and we can talk about that later, when you want me to run quotes for you, we do have this in our back pocket as a plan B. So this is what I would call our plan C, or our trump card when nothing else works. Maybe somebody's got current cancer of the prostate. This is what's called guaranteed issue whole life insurance. I'm going to give you the pros and the cons. The pros are the premiums never go up, neither does the coverage cancel due to age or health. So it is whole life permanent protection. But because there are no health questions asked with the guaranteed issue whole life plan, there's no coverage for natural death. Only the money you pay in is refunded to your beneficiary, typically with 10% in interest paid out in addition. You are covered for accidental death from the first day, but coverage amounts usually are limited to $25,000. You can buy more if you decide to take multiple policies out. And it is the last option in the most severe cases. So when I say most severe, most of the time referring to cancer, or if you're declined because of some other prostate problem with the other companies. So let's talk about the next steps on how to qualify. So the application process for life insurance is simple. Pick an agent you like, hopefully a broker that can shop the policies around, see which company is going to give you the best deal. That's what I do, of course, therefore I'll nominate myself. And then I'll be happy to drop a quote for you based on your underwriting situation and kind of give you an honest assessment of what may be possible. And then once you like that and you accept the offer, then I'll go to work on creating an application for you, and we'll do it over the phone or through email. And then the underwriter will review it and then give a decision on whether it's approved or not. And that process usually takes days to weeks. And then you get your policies usually a couple weeks from there. And that's it. Policy is issued, everything's good, and you're happy. Now, let's talk about how to do that. So if you like this idea of qualifying for life insurance with prostate problems, the next step, it's two options working with me at least. Go to buylifeinsuranceforburial.com, click the contact box or the box below and request a quote that way. Or just call me live. You can call me at 888-626-0439. Leave a voicemail if you don't reach me live, because I do talk all day on the phone with people and I usually get back within a day's time. If you like this video, please comment below if you've got any questions or comments. And make sure you thumbs up and subscribe if you like this kind of content, because there's usually more to follow. My name is David Duford at buylifeinsuranceforburial.com, where I help people like you with their life insurance needs. Thank you so much for listening as always, and take care.